everybody. What is up?
Hi. Good
Happy
Wellness
Wellness.
Wednesday, everyone. How are
Yep,
you?
absolutely.
Hi,
Yep, we're
Crystal.
doing. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm hanging in here.
You hanging in
It's
there?
been a rough couple of days, but that's okay. It's just life, and
Mm-hmm.
things happen. And I've lost another friend, you guys, to cancer. I hate cancer, and she was in her early 60s and was a vibrant, beautiful woman who did everything right. Um, when it came to her health, and just cancer took her out. So I've been struggling with that. It's the third friend. And now that's not the third person I know, but that's the third actual friend. Well, no, that's not true. The other two were too. So I guess I've lost about 5 people in the last since March, actually.
Oh,
So it's been pretty rough. But I'm here smiling and looking at you guys today. But Miss Crystal helped me through that too. You guys, let me just tell you, we're real people. We go through the same things you do. We need friends to lean on. And I got a text message from her yesterday telling me that she was praying for me and thinking of me. And that sometimes just one thing makes the difference, just makes all the difference in the world. Just reading that was like, okay, somebody's thinking about me. So just know that. And you need somebody in your life like that. So I appreciate Crystal more than she'll ever
oh.
know.
Well, I love you.
Thank
That's why I was thinking
you.
of
I love
you.
you too.
Thinking
And
of you all day.
poor thing, you guys, she just gets all the dumping. I'm like, I'm so this, I'm so that. Poor
Uh,
Crystal. You
that's
guys
what
need to
friends are
pray for
for.
Crystal. That's true. Pray for Crystal about Kathy. But before
Think
we
of
get
something
started
else.
on this beautiful Wellness Wednesday, can you guys? I know you guys hear this all the time, but we need to keep it going because Crystal's her testimony is amazing. And I'd like to start off with her testimony, why we do Wellness Wednesday, and um just what she does for a living and all that stuff. So, Crystal, can you please share with us your personal testimony as to why we're doing this?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a holistic health coach and a herb specialist. And the reason I do this is because years ago, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is an inflammatory bowel disease. It got me down and out basically on my deathbed. I lost over 30 pounds in a month. I went down to 97 pounds. I was hospitalized twice in my life for this.
Mm.
Once when I was 18, once when I was 24. And first time wasn't so bad, but the second time is the one where I was pretty ill. And I, it took a lot of things from me, and I wasn't able to do much
Mm.
of anything, like little things like going to the grocery store or just being able to get in the car and go somewhere without having to go to the restroom and feeling sick all the time. So, I went to the doctors. They wanted me to do possibly chemo. They had medication, steroids, talked about surgery, you name it. Being 18 and 24 at the time, I was like, this is not for me, and they
No,
even,
not at all.
and they talked about
Mm-mm.
possibly developing cancer after 10 years of diagnosis. I was diagnosed at 18. And I just couldn't live with that. I was like, there's got to be another answer to this. Like I got this way for a reason. So I found our naturopathic doctor. I went to a class of hers, met her, and I was like, I got to schedule an appointment with her because she was like talking about everything I was going through without knowing what I was going through. And
Mm-hmm.
and when I was seeing her, she did some iridology on me, some other things, and I was so impressed because I didn't have to tell her anything. She knew I was anemic, which the doctors knew, and told me that. She knew I had colon issues. She knew about all of these things I was going through without me having to say one single word. And
That's
so
powerful.
that is very
That's
powerful.
powerful.
When doctors, there's only a couple options there, and they don't teach nutrition. They don't teach things, like how to get to the root cause. And she taught me lifestyle changes, diet changes, getting to the root cause and not just treating the symptom.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, I started changing my habits, replacing them for good habits and healthier eating, clean eating, drinking my water. I used to never hardly drink water, a lot of things. But the point being is, I am well today. I'm not going through ulcerative colitis anymore, that the doctor said is an uncurable disease that you're going to have it for the rest of your life. And I don't. And I don't take medications. I don't
Yeah.
do any of those things. I just do nutrition. I changed my lifestyle. And that's what we're here today to share is about diet, lifestyle, nutrition, balance in the body. And that's why we share what we share, because there's always another way. There's not just one way to everything. There are natural alternative solutions, and we're here to teach you them.
Yeah. That's also why I like listening to Crystal, because she tells us, I mean, baby steps, you guys, one thing at a time. It doesn't have to be everything all at once. If it's just starting with a glass of water an hour, do a glass of water an hour. And I mean, only 8 ounces. I don't mean 16 ounces or 20 ounces. I mean 8 ounces. If you have to start at 4 ounces an hour, start somewhere. And just start drinking water. And good clean water, of course. I would never tell you to drink tap water. That's the worst thing in the world for you. Don't do it. What you need to do is do reverse osmosis water. Is not the best either, but it is a better alternative.
Yes, absolutely.
Then get some water into you guys, and the hydration does so much for the body.
It flushes out all the toxins. If you drink plenty of it, it helps transport nutrients to where it needs to be, to the cells. So many things that water can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last week it was just Crystal and I, because sometimes I really just don't want to schedule anybody and just have her and I on the air with you guys. And we had questions from our viewers that were simply amazing. They were really good. But we had one gentleman, Jamil, who had like 4 questions that I said, I think that we need to get Dr. Hollis on the line for these questions. And so that's what we have today. So please give a round of applause for our distinguished guest today.
Yoo-hoo! Yay!
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yay! Oh yeah. So I was trying to get in there to see you Monday, but I knew I was too ambitious. I knew I was trying and it didn't work. So that's okay. I'll see you after Thanksgiving though.
Not a problem. I'm sure that we scheduled in.
Okay.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, I know. I miss you. I do. I really do. Okay, so you guys, our subject today is going to be eye health. Who talks about that? We do. So Jamil is a very good friend of mine, I just have to tell you. And he has some questions that I thought were so pertinent. And I was like, these are pretty cool. So we're going to start off with his questions. I think I'm going to ask them all at once. And then I know Crystal has some slides that she wants to share with us, and I know Dr. Hollis would chime in because that's what he does, because that's how good he is. And then I do want to also talk about not only these questions, but just 1 or 2 other things about the eye that maybe people like. Why do we get dry eye? Like sometimes when I wake up in the morning, my eyes are dry. Why is that? It's because my eyes are open when I'm sleeping, which I've seen before, by the way. I've seen people sleep with their eyes open. So I wonder.
Testify to that. My husband used to sleep with his eyes open, and it freaked me out. And his younger sister does the same thing, and it's like you can see their eyes with rapid eye movement, and their eyes are open. And I'm like, oh my God, not today, Satan.
Oh wow!
I've seen it in children. I haven't seen it in any adults. Thank you, Jesus.
He doesn't do it anymore. He did it when we first, back in 2007 when we got married and stuff, like way back when.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's part of it. Am I sleeping with my eyes open, or what's going on with that? But I have to tell you, I do notice that my eyes are drier when my blood sugars are elevated.
Right.
So I think there's a correlation there. I don't know what it's doing.
Viscosity.
Go ahead, Dr. Hollis. You can say that.
It's called viscosity.
Okay.
Just like with your engine oil, if you suspend more particles in your blood, it dehydrates the blood and increases what we call the viscosity of the blood. It makes it sludgy blood, and then that reduces the hydration at every cellular level, especially the lacrimal glands that keep your eyes wet. So your body doesn't consider your eyes to be a critical function. So it will move all the water that it can to your internal organs whenever you have a high viscosity. We also call it thick blood. If you've ever drawn blood,
I've heard that before. Okay.
If you've ever drawn blood on a patient, in my office, because I'm an internal medicine doctor, we start the examination of their blood when we take it out in the vial. and we do various different tests, including a visual exam and a tilt test, and we look to see if the blood is sludgy or thick, and it's a sign of how well they're hydrating. It also tells us if they have hypovolemia, which is low blood volume, not enough fluid circulating, and that is what leads to the dry eyes.
Wow. Okay. So that's yeah.
We should
But
talk.
my eyes aren't open when I'm sleeping because I only notice it if I'm eating something that has a high, sugar content.
Sugar, especially late at night if you snack before bed.
Yeah.
Which
guilty as charged.
we should not do, right?
I
but
know.
we all have. We all have.
I know. It's such a hard habit to get out of.
I was going to say what a lot of people don't know is because of Chinese medicine, the liver and eye health is actually very closely related. So when you start learning Chinese herbs and things, you'll understand why the liver is so important for eye health.
Actually, I was going to talk about that. So she's getting a little ahead of the game. I love it. Okay. So actually, I love it because we're all on the same page, you guys. We don't talk about this stuff prior to. I send him the question. She does the slides and I talk. I don't know what they're doing. So that's pretty amazing.
She totally based me on the fly.
I love it.
I thought we were talking about cancer.
No. All right. So eye health. Okay. So the first question Jamil has is, can you save your eyesight after being diagnosed with a disease like glaucoma? That's the first question. You want to answer it or should I go to the other ones?
Go to the other ones and we'll get to them.
Read them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that can be taken to prevent glaucoma? Can you reverse glaucoma? What causes bags under the eyes? And what can you do to get rid of the bags under the eyes? And I will do the dark circles as well, if we can add that in there. Okay.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. So do we want to start with some slides first or just to get it going? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I did these slides real quick today, and about eye health. And so I looked over the questions and I said, okay, what's glaucoma? Because a lot of people don't understand what glaucoma is actually. So
I just know it as a pressure behind the eye.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Pressure inside the eye.
Inside the eye. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's intraocular hypertension.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, so glaucoma is a serious eye disease characterized by abnormally elevated fluid pressure within the eye. This is caused by a tiny mesh in the eye that allows fluid to drain, becoming clogged. The clogging is usually due to free radical damage causing debris in the lymph. Untreated, this pressure can damage the retina and destroy the optic nerve, resulting in vision loss or blindness. In fact, glaucoma is the most common cause of blindness. Risk factors for the disease include people of African ancestry, people with diabetes, high blood pressure, severe myopia, which is nearsightedness, or a family history of glaucoma, and those who are taking corticosteroid preparations. So I was going to ask Dr. Hollis, do you have anything to say to that?
Absolutely.
I feel like you might.
Well, I have a couple of things to say. I don't like a couple of those prerequisites of getting glaucoma. Why
it's
is
kind of scary.
American? I'm telling you guys, it's just like it seems like everything is against African American makeup, and we are the community that suffer from this stuff, and it's like, goodness gracious. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's a good question.
It's a frustration.
It's a nice pitch.
And African ancestry has very strong genetics, so you have to understand that too. And you have strong genetics, you don't really feel things when they first come onset, right? Like cancer, you might not feel it till stage 4, when you got 2 weeks to live, and that's just because your genetics are so strong. And it just goes from there. I mean, and there's just different things. And then all colors, we all suffer from diabetes, all suffer from high blood pressure, but it is predominant, yes, in African American community.
Yeah.
Well, and part of that is the westernization of that community and the American standard diet we call the
Yes.
SAD.
Agreed.
The SAD is what really affects that. We teach in our clinic. One of my favorite mentors who has passed, he used to be one of our instructors for the internal medicine program. And he would teach that your genetics only load the cannon, the environment pulls the trigger.
Yes, yes.
When my sister was a missionary in Tanzania, Africa for 13 years, they had time after time after time, these doctors, missionaries would come over from hospitals in America and they would bring all this eye equipment, and they assumed that because the African Americans in the US had these problems, that the tribes would have them in Africa, but they didn't. They didn't do their research ahead of time. And if the African people in Africa are eating a standard African diet, they don't develop eye problems.
Right.
That's right.
It's an American, and I hate to say it, but it's a Southern American pandemic. And so, yes, I treat that a lot, Miss Kathy. And to tie into your question as well as Jamil's, it is preventable, not necessarily directly, but things that we teach for wellness, especially Wellness Wednesday or Monday through Friday, we can teach the person to do, and it will protect all parts of their body, including their eyes.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
That's the great news. You can kill 12 birds with one stone by just improving things like your diet, like I just mentioned. And then her slide mentions free radical damage, which is actually called oxidative stress. We can treat, we can prevent, and we can reverse oxidative stress.
Yes, with antioxidants, providing better support for circulation, heart health.
Can you do me a favor and explain what free radical is? We hear that term, but what actually is it? I
would love to. When you take a molecule and you metabolize it, you will create certain byproducts we call waste. The technical term is called a species, and the most common one is going to be a stray hydrogen and oxygen molecule that have been separated. And those create oxidation, which is half of what you would call rusting. So if you take metals, which exist everywhere in nature, including inside of our body, like some of the vitamins and minerals that people take, they're actually metals, like copper, for example. When you take metal and you take water, which our body is full of water, you create then a setup when you mix that with free oxygen molecules and you get rusting. You are literally rusting from the inside out, and it damages all healthy tissues. And the tissues that are most susceptible are the smallest systems with the smallest amount of tissue. So you damage your thyroid before you will damage your liver because it's much bigger.
That's right.
You'll damage your kidneys and your eyesight before you'll damage your skin. But if you have problems that are showing up in your skin, your internal organs have already been long undergoing accumulative damage.
Agreed.
Yep. And in layman terms, I'm glad you said rusty, because it is literally just like rust on a car. You know, it eats away at things. It deteriorates. It's causing damage.
Corrosive.
Yes. So
corrosion.
So it's basically, we're the car and we've got some rust on our car, you know, that's been damaged, you know, and we got to repair that.
And we have coatings that you can spray on to stop that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a couple more slides. If that's okay.
Go to the next slide, please.
All right. So, like, you know, we said, you know, other contributing factors include, because Kathy was saying she didn't like some of those things she saw. So other contributing factors include diabetes, food allergies, excess caffeine and sugar consumption, other types of allergies, adrenal exhaustion, liver and thyroid problems, just like Dr. Hollis was talking about. Coffee should be eliminated from the diet along with other sources of caffeine, including chocolate and soft drinks. So taking remedies that can relax the eye, allowing to allowing the drain to open may be helpful. And, you know, another thing we don't talk about too much, you know, because it's not completely legal everywhere, cannabis is pretty darn effective for glaucoma. And it's possible remedies like kava kava and lobelia, which are herbs, that could have a similar effect to cannabis if you don't want to do cannabis. And there's also CBD, for instance, that could be helpful because CBD does not get you high like THC we hear about marijuana. So there's a difference, and you just have to you know, be educated and know what's right for you. So
can you repeat those other herbs again?
Oh, lobelia and kava kava. So kava kava is like a natural muscle relaxer, and so is lobelia. Lobelia is actually something I like to have on hand in my herbal medicine cabinet because if, for instance, if someone's having an asthma attack, lobelia is very helpful to relax the lungs and also get that mucus up out of the lungs that's in there. And then also muscles, for instance. I do something, I'm not a chiropractor or anything like Dr. Hollis here, but I do something called an herbal adjustment where I use Typhu, which is an essential oil. I use capsicum liquid extract, and I use lobelia, so it's called TLC. And I put it right down the spine on each side, and I start from the top of the neck and work my way down and out. And it literally relaxes the whole back, giving you basically an herbal adjustment.
Okay. Wow.
So lobelia is pretty awesome, by the way, just to let you know. So it's a really good relaxer, and that's what it talks about, is relaxing the eye muscles, so because it can relax all sorts of things. Okay.
And the next slide.
So yeah, let me go ahead and pull this up because we were wanting to talk about eyesight. You asked the question, you know, can we improve? Basically, can we reverse, you know, glaucoma? And well, the answer, what I would answer as is, you know, there are herbs that are helpful for improving eyesight or deterioration of eyesight. And bilberry is probably the #1 herb I go to for eyesight. It's a very powerful antioxidant, and antioxidants help against oxidative stress. We have herbal combinations that have all this in it. You know, the lutein, the NAC, you know, that's good for the liver. All these things, they work on different things such as the liver. You have quercetin, you know, that's also good for allergies. You have turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory. And vitamin A and D is very good for the livers to nourish it.
Absolutely.
You know, it's kind of crazy because you and I were talking about vitamin A for, I guess it was the eyes, because I want to reverse my, is it nearsightedness or farsightedness?
Nearsighted.
I'm nearsighted. I always get those mixed up. So I need glasses to see far away.
Right.
So I'm nearsighted because okay.
You can only see near.
Yes. But then also I take off my glasses to read. So I don't know what I am. I don't have bad eyesight.
You're a hybrid.
You're a hybrid.
Something. I'm falling apart.
Well, vitamin A is very good for eye health, liver health, and you know, it's a powerful antioxidant itself.
But I was told, like you said, I'm so glad that you mentioned those herbs because I remember someone telling me that there are herbs that can reverse even my nearsighted farsightedness. So I'm excited to get on that regimen. And like Dr. Hollis said, if it's going to help the eye, it's going to help other organs. And I think you said, Crystal, liver?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the kidneys. Why not? Throw that in there.
And what? And the kidneys.
And the kidneys. I was like, why not? Throw that in there.
And I did see turmeric in there.
Turmeric. Yep, it's a very powerful well, it's an antioxidant too, but it's an anti-inflammatory, which is really good. I used to take that all the time. Way back when I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, that was something that was very powerful for me for an anti-inflammatory.
Not all turmeric is equal, so you guys got to do your research. You got to do your research.
You need one with black pepper in it because that helps to maximize the bioavailability and how it assimilates in the body. It's more bioavailable.
Dr. Hollis, you have anything you want to offer?
Actually, she's nailing all of that. I defer on the herbs to Crystal.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. All right, let's go to the next couple of slides.
I do use all of those in my protocol, but she is the expert on that.
Perfect.
Alrighty. All right. So I know might have not asked some questions of these, but some people have. I know they have questions about floaters. Sometimes you see these spots, behind the eye and stuff, and it's usually due to like parasites. But B12 or B complex vitamin is very helpful for that. I think it's B6 that is very good for it to help to detoxify the liver as well, and it helps with gallbladder, all kinds of things. The thyroid, heart. It's good for all those things. And then you talked about red itching eyes, or dry eye. There are therapies for that. People can natural therapy, so you don't have to take medications. There are times where you can use warm compresses. That might not help though sometimes, but hydration is important and stress management. We talked about that earlier, how hydration is very important. And then night vision, it can be aided by bilberry. And bilberry, the reason it's so good for vision alone is because bilberry is actually very high in vitamin A.
Okay. Actually, that's a lot of people suffer from night vision and they think they have to go get better glasses and it doesn't work. Yep. So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
We pride ourselves here in not only helping people stop their nearsightedness or vision problems from getting worse as they age, which they assume it always will, but in a lot of cases, we can reverse their prescription. Mm-hmm. A lot of my patients don't wear their glasses or contacts anymore. Or me, for example, my glasses in high school were over a half-inch thick. And wow. Now I'm down to, I believe it's a 1/16 of an inch when they actually measure my lenses. So I went down from factors of 8 point something down to 2 point something.
So, Dr. Hollis, is it true that when you wear glasses, it weakens the eye?
It does.
Okay.
What about contacts?
Contacts are better, but you still have a problem of a telescope. If you take two lenses and you put the lenses at different distances, the air refraction and the angles that happen between them will strain the healthy lens that's left and the inside of the eye. So a contact sitting on top of the eyeball is better, but I'm allergic to the contacts materials because my body is allergic to almost everything that's foreign, which I was going to mention to you. If you put anything in your eyes on a regular basis, especially if it's toxic, like the plastic that makes up a contact lens, it will cause things like dry eye. It will cause irritation and inflammation to your eye. Also, I've got to throw in this.
That's true.
Medical prescription drugs, one of the most common side effects ever is dry eye.
Yep.
But that's because they're toxic to your kidneys and your liver, and your lymphatic system is clogged, and you're becoming dehydrated because of you trying to constantly filter out the toxins from the drugs.
Dr. Hollis, a lot of times when and I don't take any anymore, but I used to do eye drops, and every time I would do an eye drop, my stomach would be upset immediately. Like it took no time for my stomach to be upset. So how is it that I can put something in my eye and my stomach gets upset every time?
I'm so glad you asked. It's gonna sound scary, and I'm here to educate, not to alarm you.
Right.
But you're creating a brain toxicity, which is aggravating your vasovagal response with the vagus nerve that goes straight down to your stomach.
Oh, my goodness.
You're inflaming your cranial nerves and your brain tissue because that chemical soaks directly into your brain almost immediately.
Oh, I'm thinking that it's going directly to my stomach. But I hear what you're saying.
No,
okay.
It's irritating your frontal cortex, which is then inflaming the
pituitary gland.
Yeah, it's neurological, not digestion.
Wow.
Makes a lot of sense.
If you want ideas for another talk, don't get me started on my soapbox about makeup and hair care products.
Facts.
And things that go on the face because they soak directly into your brain.
They do.
Wow.
And this is probably going back to the 80s, but when we first started medical school, my wife and I give her credit for going through it with me. we were surprised because the first thing on the first day of class that this old instructor told me, and we were all between the ages of 20 and 26 in my medical school class, he said, stop squeezing the pimples on your face because you'll push the infection directly into your brain. And it was causing the students to have lower grades, and they were failing. And the instructor was getting in trouble for having people failing his class, and he was blaming it on their acne. But it is actually true. As much as he meant it as a silly story, it was actually completely true.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So
that is
if you're putting toxic stuff on your skin or your face or your nose sprays are and inhalers will cause all kinds of damage to your brain, even though you think you're treating your lungs.
That's why we use essential oil inhalers.
Wow.
Good job.
Wow.
I also wanted to mention before when we were talking about eyesight, and I think we mentioned diabetes and stuff. So if your sugar is out of balance, if your sugar is not balanced, your eyesight will not be clear either. So let's say your blood sugar was dropping or something you hadn't ate yet, and you go to the doctor, get your eyesight checked that day to get some contacts and glasses. Well, if your blood sugar was dropping during that time, it's going to be different when you finally eat. So make sure that you have stabilize your blood sugar by eating whole food nutrition, proteins, good fats, fiber.
Which is why my eye doctor friends tell me that they get so frustrated that people come in for their fitting and they say that their prescription isn't right because the day they got their exam, their blood sugars were off the charts, or they were tanking too low. So then they order the wrong prescription because the test results were skewed.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
And so that's very important to me that I teach people that as well.
Yep.
The same thing goes for a driver's test. If you've got a nervous 16-year-old kid and they forget to eat breakfast, their motor skills won't be the same.
Yep, that's right. We're always talking about how breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because it is.
Yes.
You have to feed your thyroid for your thyroid hormones to convert within 1 hour of waking. You have to have that protein, those amino acids. You have to have your thyroid feeds your brain. If you feed your thyroid, you feed your brain. So we have to understand that. So if we're getting good protein, good amino acids in the morning, good high nutrition, then we're going to have good brain power, good brain food every day. Now, coffee, that might give you a good energy boost like right away, but it's going to shoot you down real quick, and it's going to take things from you. It's going to make your body acidic. It's going to take the calcium from your bones, many different things. So just make sure you're eating a good diet. Like my daughter, for instance, I have to brag a little bit. She's like getting straight A's, you guys, and it's her first year of middle school, 6th grade. And I know that's difficult for most kids. And every day of her life, I have always given her some kind of good protein in the morning with high nutrition. And she just thrives. She was a really good reader. She's great at math, all kinds of things. Her motor function, all of it's great. And I feel like it's mostly because of all the herbs and the good nutrition she's taking.
Absolutely. She doesn't get ill very often either. Yeah. So let's talk about did you want to go and do the rest of the slides before we talk about the bags under the eyes?
Well, that's actually the last slide, and that's the last one we have left, and we'll go right into that. So with holistic health, I've always been taught, dark circles affects the adrenals, and it's usually due to like allergies like gluten, and some people like dairy, things like that. A lot of us, we don't know that we have gluten allergies, but yet we have these dark circles. And when our adrenals are shot, we are like when we're sick, for instance, sometimes we get more dark circles when we're not feeling well, maybe at that time of the month because our immune system is compromised for menstrual cycles with women. Vitamin C is a good thing to help the adrenals. Licorice root, there's all kinds of different herbs, that we can help the adrenals. Working on the thyroid and the adrenals is very important, so to reduce dark circles. And then the bags under the eyes. When you have bags under the eyes, depending on how it's under the eyes, like if it's on the lower part towards the cheek, that's kidney and liver. And then right on like the lower eyelid where your eyelashes are if that's kind of puffy and squishy, it's usually because of your stomach. You're not digesting well, different things. So just look out for that. It really is due to diet, and we have to look out for whole food nutrition and what we're eating, what we're putting in our body, the water we're drinking. All
Is
that's
it ever
important.
hormonal? Because I always thought that it's hormonal as well, especially in women.
Well, adrenals and thyroid, that goes right in with the hormones. So it all
Okay.
plays a part. And liver, kidneys, liver has a lot to do with hormones. So that all plays a big part.
Okay. So Dr. Hollis, your regiment, what do adjustments do for the eyesight?
Oh, that's very important. So the nerves that
Because I want you to adjust me and I'm going to be able to see through the wall.
Can't
Superwoman.
promise that we can make you Superman, but the adjustments to the nerves of the upper spine are in direct control of the function of the senses, the hearing, the taste, the smell, swallowing, and eyesight. And adjustments can help most people, even if they don't feel it or notice it, even if it doesn't reverse something that they can see on a prescription for their eyeglasses, but it can. We see that quite a bit. But the most important thing is that the adjustments are preventative. They will stop you from having your eyes go bad as early as they might have. My prescription hasn't changed in almost 9 years because I learned how to reverse it. I learned how to treat it, like I said earlier in the same talk here. Once I did that, I don't know if I can make it go back to perfect, but with my family heritage, I don't think my eyes were born perfect in the first place. Yeah, every member of my family couldn't see past their nose by the time they were 6.
Oh, wow.
But I'm seeing better than anyone in my family history now, and I'm just turned 42. So
I have to brag on my eyesight. I have diabetes. I've had it since I think 2016, and but well before that, like 15 years, 10 years before that, my eye prescription has not changed. And I'm thankful for that, though, because that means that there's no damage happening. So, and I just got my eyes checked after I know a good 5 years, more than that, probably 10 years. And my eyesight is practically the same. The only difference is the reading.
I want to say something, Kathy.
Okay.
Don't mix the ocular vision prescription with the same context of whether or not your eye health is improving or not improving or staying the same.
Actually, I was going to ask you about that in glaucoma. Does your eyesight change with glaucoma? But keep with that vein because I think I know where you're going there. Keep saying.
I just wanted to say that we don't want you to be falsely excited, even though it's good to be excited. Just like blood pressure is the silent killer and it can damage you for years before you even know it, glaucoma is the blood pressure problem of the eye, and it does not always change your visual acuity, and it can be damaging you when you don't even know it.
Okay.
Right.
So that's why we take all of the possible actions that we can to reverse it or prevent it if we even suspect that it's a possibility.
Okay.
Family history.
I just want to mention real quick to add to that, CBD oil is very helpful for people with high pressure in their eyes.
Right.
Just to let you know that it reduces that inflammation.
So is there a feeling, like, do people feel something that's in their eye that makes them?
No, it is pain. I would believe it's painful though sometimes because it's, inflammation.
Late stage, once you get something that it's actually pressing against the interbone of the ocular orifice, that they will feel that, but that's very, very late stage. And that also usually goes along with exophthalmos, which is where your eyeballs protrude outward. That's because of the pressure. But
thyroid too.
And thyroid,
yes,
yeah.
thyroid.
I was going to ask you about that in thyroid because I have heard that there is a thyroid eye.
Yes. It's mostly concerning hyperthyroid, not hypothyroid.
Yeah, Graves' disease.
Graves' disease. But the most important thing is Most people have no idea about the glaucoma until an eye doctor does the test at the eye doctor's office and he
Right.
says, "Oh, you're getting glaucoma." They have no clue,
Mm-hmm.
which is
So
why we have
sometimes
to
I do feel the pressure behind my eyes, but it's behind my eyes. So is that sinuses?
Hormonal. Sun can be hormonal. It can be.
allergies, hormones, inflammation, and toxins in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Liver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've seen it with pancreatitis too, just from being diabetic and having sugar imbalances for long periods of time, especially the quote unquote uncontrolled diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I
Enzymes.
want to get this straight, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What Dr. Hollis said was really important. The ocular examination is just your eyesight,
The
not
lenses.
your eye health.
Right.
Not your eye health.
Correct.
So your eye health is your actual eyeball that has things that's going on behind the scenes that you might not feel, may not see the difference in your eyesight. So don't be lulled into thinking that you're doing good like I just did.
Yes.
Thinking that everything was okay when there could be a problem back there.
One of
So
my
I am
favorite,
going back in 6 months, so I'm okay with that. I'm gonna go back in 6 months to see if something has changed. But I don't have glaucoma, guys. That's not what I'm going back for. But I just want to make sure there's something that, things are still being okay.
the other thing is I have no problems with an optometrist, but you cannot trust an optometrist to judge your eye health. You need to spend the money, and at least once every year or maybe 2 years, if you're doing well, go see an ophthalmologist and
Okay.
have them run all the tests, because if they can detect it early, it's much more treatable or reversible.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention, we teach here, it was taught to me by an instructor in the internal medicine program. The energy workers of the world talk about how the eyes are a window into your soul. But from a medical point of view, the eyes are a window into your internal health. Just like the slide showed all the different reflexology points on the outside, the inside of the eye is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I can't describe it to you, but when I use an ophthalmoscope and I look into the eye, you can see the arteries and the veins and something we call the macula. And you can see if there are crystals of sugar that have been deposited like rocks. And you can see if there's a lot of hypertension in the body or the hypertension of glaucoma. You can see where the arteries and veins cross. They actually form a bump like this instead of being flat and smooth. And you can see it earlier than what somebody can feel it. So when they look inside your eyes, that's a very important part of that test. And don't let any doctor rush it. They need to spend 5 minutes on each eye looking at the inside. It's not one of these. They need to look at every angle. They need to shine that light in there until you can't handle it anymore. Or just go to the ophthalmologist and he'll just dilate it for you, and then he has really good machines that can take way better pictures. But when I do a physical exam, all of my patients are blown away at how thorough we are and how much time I spend on things like inside their eye. And they say, I've had physicals my whole life and no one ever looks inside my eye, at least not more than 5 seconds.
True story.
Yes.
That's facts, you guys. And I bet you he's talking to millions of you guys, because I'm one of those.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention, we're getting down to our last minute and everything, but I just want to say something about preventative eye health care. Just remember to, make sure you're getting lots of antioxidants in. That's good for, that oxidative stress we talked about. Drinking plenty of water to flush out those toxins, help the liver give it a break. When you drink things other than water, just know that your kidneys also have to filter that. So, your kidneys are working harder. Your liver does over 500 functions in the body, and that's why it's so important for heart health as well. And then eating dark leafy greens, any type of greens, crucifix vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, all that is great to cleanse the liver and help it, nourish it. And then vitamin A is very good for the liver as well. And we talked about bilberry as a herb that is very powerful and high in vitamin A for the liver and the eyesight. So I just wanted to mention that for preventative care. Even if you don't know if you have something yet, it's always good for preventative, because you might be, may you never know the disease you prevented. That is my favorite saying. Just may you never know, because if you're already eating healthy and doing the right things, you're preventing more than just eyesight health, you know, and liver health. You're helping your colon, you're helping your stomach, you're helping your circulation, your heart health.
Well, like I said last week, when I think of holistic, I think of WHOLE.
That's right.
Holistic.
That's right.
I don't think of HOL. So it encompasses everything. If you're taking something from your eye, it's going to help the rest of your body. And we just went through all that. So yes, oh my gosh, I could go an hour on this, but Dr. Hollis,
I want to do an hour on the bags under the eyes and the dark circles and the difference between food allergies causing that and regular allergies and the inflammation from the brain. If you have an eye problem and it's inflamed, there could be fluid that is pooling at the bottom of your ocular socket where the bone sits. If you have pooling edema in there, that can be a sign of a bunch of different things, and some of them are really serious.
Yeah.
So if Jamil has bags under his eyes, he needs to be calling all of us.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you guys, this is the end of our program. I hate when we have to say goodbye, especially when Dr. Hollis is with us. Dr. Hollis, if we can do that next, I think it's December that we're with you next. If we can do that next to piggyback off of today, that would be fantastic. And I think that would be a really good show as well, because no one really talks about the eyes. We don't talk about how important they are and what they actually are showing the rest of the body. So I like that.
And teeth. We have to talk about the mouth too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's ignored and it's misunderstood, and it's very important.
Most definitely. All right, you guys. Well, we have to sign off, but we just want to say, if you are green inside, you know that you are clean inside, and health is wealth. So you guys, please, please, please share this video. You know, many of people that have all of the ailments that we've talked about and how they can prevent it. It's preventative, you guys. That's the blessing right there. So we will see you next Wednesday. Thank you so much, Dr. Hollis.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. All right. Bye-bye. Have a good one.